Protein for flights and hatching. The dose for 50 pigeons: dissolve in 150 to 200 milliliters of water and pour into the feed, allow to dry, stirring occasionally. After flight feeding. 20 grams. For feed. First feeding the day after the flight. 20 grams. For feed. During hatching, molting 3 to 4 times a week. 20 grams. For feed. Turbo meese, the dose for 50 pigeons. The dose is determined according to the severity of the flight and the duration of the effort. Due to its characteristics, turbo meese should be mixed with boiled and cooled water, shaking vigorously in a sealed container. Flights from 100 to 400 kilometers after the last evening feed on the day before the basketing. 20 to 40 grams give with drinking water. Flights from 400 to 800 kilometers after the first morning feeding on the day of the basketing. 60 to 80 grams give with drinking water. After flying in difficult conditions after evening feeding. 60 to 80 grams give with drinking water. Super Maniac. The dose for 50 pigeons. The connection to the turbodylidowany product is indicated. Immediately after the flight. 10 milliliters give with drinking water. The day after the flight. 20 milliliters for feed. During molting 3 to 4 times a week. 10 milliliters for feed. Super Maniac Sport. The dose for 50 pigeons. The connection to the turbodylidowany product is indicated. The day before basketing, last feeding. 10 milliliters category A and B give for feed. 15 milliliters category C IM give for feed. Immediately after the flight. 10 milliliters category A and B give with drinking water. 15 ml category C and M give with drinking water. Turbodylidowany, the dose for 50 pigeons. It is recommended to combine it with Super Maniac or Super Maniac Sport. Before the flight, on the day before basketing. 5 grams for feed. Immediately after the flight. 5 grams for feed. Training flights. 5 grams. Every third flight for feed. Molting. 5 grams. 2 to 3 times a week for feed. Vitamin C. The dose for 50 pigeons. Mix with boiled lukewarm water by shaking vigorously in a tightly closed container. Immediately after the flight. 5 grams connection to amino acids indicated administered to drinking water. Molting, high temperature. 5 grams give 2 to 3 times a week to drinking water. Oil for molting and breeding. The dose for 50 pigeons. On the day following the flight, morning feeding. 10 milliliters for feed. Preparation for breeding, rearing young pigeons. 10 milliliters 2 times a week for feed. During the molting period. 10 milliliters 2 to 3 times a week for feed. L-Copico oil. The dose for 50 pigeons. Last afternoon feeding on the day before basketing for flights to categories A, B, C 10 milliliters. On the basketing day in the morning for category M flights. 10 milliliters. Once a week outside the racing season. 10 milliliters. Dissolve the feed in half of the dose, and after eating, give the second part of the dry feed. Use in accordance with the recommendations.